Welcome, friends, and welcome back to Sparking University. So, hopefully, everyone's had a great week. You have your snacks. You know, you have my drink, sweet tea again today, right? And hopefully, you've been doing all the things that we've been talking about, and your week has been more productive, and everything has been more meaningful for you so far. So, I would like to hear from you. Let me know that you're here. Just kind of put your name in the chat, say hello. If you're watching the replay, still let me know that you're here and let me know where you are. And because I do read the comments, so just let me know that you're here. And we're going to go ahead and get started and hit the ground running this evening. So let's see. Let's start by recapping. So this is week 4 of our 4-week intensive. I know y'all, excuse me, you probably hear that in the back. My neighbor is blowing leaves and all that type of stuff. But for the 4 weeks, we have been doing our journey of self-discovery, right? And we have been talking about living a life that is meaningful and purposeful to us, right? So reclaiming control of our life, redefining what is possible, and reigniting our passion. And so when we first started, we talked about how life was like, well, we're like a puzzle, right? And we had a question asking ourselves, who are we? That's where we started at. We just wanted to start off with a basic definition of who we were, right? As an individual, not the roles that we played. We wanted to dig a little deeper, and we wanted to go ahead and start tapping into those things that really make us unique, right? And then we kind of branched off and we kind of asked those individuals who were closest to us, like, how do you see me? Because sometimes we don't always see, sometimes we're looking through tinted glasses, right? And we're a little bit more critical on ourselves. And so we don't always see our strengths and our positive traits sometimes and things of that sort. So I asked you to do the, Connect 5, right? You was to ask 5 individuals who basically your friends or those who are close to you, how do they see you? And what do they identify as your superpower, right? Then we went on later and we talked about basically identifying our values, right? That was last week. We talked about identifying our values because once we figured out who we were, we needed to find out what was important to us, what really mattered to me, what matters to me as an individual, right? And we talked about the importance of living life in alignment with those values. But we also talked about the importance of self-care because so many times we leave our needs, right? Because self-care is not a want, it's a necessity. So a lot of times we leave our needs on the back burner, right? Because we're addressing the needs of other individuals. And we talked about the importance of taking the time to put us first, right? Because you're no good to someone else if you don't take care of yourself, right? If you don't have enough energy or you don't have the right mental space or whatever to deal with other people, then you really can't be an impact on others. So you have to take care of yourself. So we talked about those 3 different things that kind of make us into who we are. Today, what we're going to talk about is living life boldly, passionately, and purposefully. Because last week we also spoke about breaking free of those limitations, right? Those limitations, whether they be outside influences or ourselves, because sometimes we can be our own biggest critic, right? And sometimes we can let our own personal fears keep us from being our best selves. And so all along, we've been sharing, okay? So if you've been following along and reading the chat, people have been commenting along, saying the things that they had to battle, because you're not the only one who has to redefine themselves, right? Because sometimes usually people ask this question when either they're starting their journey in life, because remember we talked about toddlers, like they're trying to make a name for themselves, right? That's when they're discovering like they have power. No, right? That's when that powerful word, no, they're not going to do it. That's when, when we first get introduced to their real personality, right? And then we see that again when we're in the teens, okay? Because it's also, once again, self-discovery, and you're learning about who you want to identify with as peers and what are your values, because you're also establishing your core values at that particular time. And then as a young adult, when you are embarking on the world, right? And you're starting to branch off and do what is important to you. And that is another major point. And then you have that time where you have that switch in your life where either something traumatic or something causes a change. So it can be something as simple as if you have children, your children growing up and moving on, right? It can be you find out that I'm not really happy doing what I'm doing, right? It could be that, and now it's triggered a change in that aspect. So different things, right? But the key word is change, right? You want to do something different. And so tonight what we're talking about is how to find that happiness, right? How to live a life that you love. And you can't live the life that you love until we took care of the core things, right? That was identifying us. But we have to take those lessons that we had previously and let's take it one step further. So if you see me looking back and forth, I'm checking the chat and everything. And I also want to make sure that I don't leave anything out tonight because this is our last class. And so I just kind of want to make sure that I hit all the good stuff, right? So let's see. So part of the things that we talked about last time was identifying your values and your non-negotiables. Okay. Well, we also talked about identifying your strengths, the things that you shine, the areas that you shine in, right? If you ever heard me talk before, I always talk about your glows, the areas that you glow, right? These are the things that you do well. Okay. So, I want you to ask yourself, what would you rather be doing with your life other than what you're doing right now? Take a moment. Now, if you are in our course, you've already had this question earlier today. So you had a chance to think about that, right? So what would you rather be doing with your life other than what you're doing right now? Okay. So I have asked myself that several times in my life, right? And I think the last time that I actually had to ask that question was I was at the crossroads, right? So everything seemed to be out of alignment with me. My job, I had been, teaching for years, right? And I love teaching. I love the students. It's never the students, right? It's the other stuff. And in the last place where I was at, it just was not a positive environment for me, right? It was kind of toxic. So it started to take a toll on my health. Then I have health issues that showed that all this is at the same time. So I was in a bad place mentally because of my work situation, because I love teaching, but it was other stresses on that, right? Then I had health issues that popped up. Then, which was compounded by the stress that I had with that, right? Then, not to mention, I wasn't giving myself self-care. I wasn't meeting my needs and I wasn't taking care of myself. I was spreading myself thin, doing all these different things, right? And then the things that I love doing started to become less and less, right? It started to really take a back seat to fulfilling the needs of everyone else or what I felt was my other obligations. And then slowly and surely, I start seeing myself being chipped away, right? And I found myself asking, what is it that I really want to do with my life? I really don't know where I want to go. I don't know what I want to do. I just know I don't want to do this no more, right? I'm tired of this. And then my other areas, family life has always been good, so that's a blessing. So I really haven't had to worry about anything like that. But it was the other forces outside. And it just felt like I was being bombarded everywhere, right? And then I decided I wanted to grow and take my skills to something else because I had so many talents. And then so I decided, you know what? I really love project management. I really want to do this. This is something that I want to do. And I set out to take the test. And at first, I wasn't sure if I was able to do it because, a lot of people who sit for that exam, they work in that environment. I do project management on the side, So, and it's because it's something that I like to do. I like to organize things. I like to make sure processes and procedures and things are in place, and stuff like that, right? And how to streamline things. That fascinates me, right? So, which kind of aligns with the teacher in me, right? Because it all kind of goes together, right? But I had to sit down and say, is this what I want to do? I think this is what I want to do. And then I had to get out of that self-doubt mode because I felt like because I hadn't really been in that corporate environment, I used to be in that a long time ago. That was so long ago. Was I really able to do that? And then, but the one thing I know is that whatever you desire, and if you truly want it, you'll make the time for it, and you will set forth the steps that you need to achieve that goal, right? And so in 8 weeks, I prepared for that exam. I didn't take a boot camp or anything like that. I took my knowledge that I had from previous projects and from studying, and I had to study the way that worked for me. A lot of boot camps and stuff like that, or books that I had tried to read. It was everybody want to go by like knowledge, there's it's groups, right? It's different groupings, and they're called knowledge areas. And a lot of the tests for the training prep courses were focused around these knowledge areas. I'm the type of person where, remember, processes and systems are important to me, right? I have to be able to connect the dots. If I can't connect the dots, if I can't find the logical path in that, then it doesn't really relate to me. I can't identify with it. So it was very hard for me. So I said, what works for me? So I sat down, figured out my own study plan, created my, because I create curriculum. So I was like, it shouldn't be hard, right? For me to sit down and figure out how to teach this to myself. Did it and passed the exam the first time. I was like, wow, I do know what I'm talking about, right? And you're talking about a confidence booster. But I was changing fields, if you want to say, right? Because remember, I told you I've been doing project management on the side, not as my main 9 to 5, right? So when I got ready to go into that environment, it wasn't received well. And even though I even tried to go in as a communications, strategist or something like that, helping people with that, because that is what my degree is in communications, right? And no, they couldn't get past their limitations for me. And then, so I had limitations at my 9 to 5 job. I had limitations in the new path I was trying to go. I had other limitations and battles I was fighting in other areas, right? And I just started to feel depressed. And it was just like, what can I do with myself? What is it that I'd rather be doing right now than what I'm doing now, right? So I sat down and I listed my values. What is important to me? Well, my job kept me, I've always been there for my children. And this last job that I had, it kept me from them. I've always been able to take my children to school, pick them up from school, attend their different functions and do all their different things. At that time, I was working 1 full-time, 2 part-times in the seasonal. You do the math, right? So obviously I didn't have time for me. And by doing all of that, I was just like, this is not working. So I wrote out my non-negotiables. And I'm a preacher kid. So my faith came in and I prayed on that, right? So, and I was like, I need to be able to do these. These are my 5 non-negotiables. And one of my non-negotiables was I needed a job that would allow me to be flexible so that way I can be there for my children, right? And then there were some other things that I had asked to do. Once I spoke that into existence, it was like things started to connect. Things started to fall into place. And when I realized that I was no longer going to allow people to put me in this box that I had the key to let me out of, right? I opened up the door and I created a platform for me. And that is kind of how SPARKNuuniversity started. It was just like, I want something that would allow me to do what I love, right? Teach, project management, incorporate technology, streamline processes, and ignite others, right? I wanted to be able to do that. But so I wanted to do life on my own terms. And that SPARKNuuniversity allowed me to do that. And then I wanted to share that with other people. So once I was able to figure out what was important to me, then I was able to align my goals with those values. And that kind of took us to where Rob Hill Senior, excuse me, let me make sure I say that correctly. So Rob Hill Senior has a quote that I used this week, and it says, "My goal is to live a life I don't need a vacation from." Oh my goodness. When I first saw this quote, it spoke to me because I always felt that I used to joke around with my dad. My dad and I used to be like, he was like, "Well, how's your day today?" "Today's a good day." You know, why is it a good day? Because you design it that way, right? I was doing what I love at that time. And it was never a bad day for me because I was out doing the things that brought me joy. And so that's the same thing Rob Hill is saying. He's saying, my goal is to live a life I don't need a vacation from. When you are doing the things that make you happy, you don't really tire of that. Work is not work anymore, right? You're doing something that is fulfilling to you and it has purpose for you, right? And this is what it means when I say living a life that is meaningful and purposeful to you. And then, but in order to do that, you have to take responsibility for your own happiness. That's what I had to do. I had to sit back and say, all right, this is not working for me. What is it that I can do so that way I can be happy and find the joy in doing what it is that I love to do again? And I don't know if you saw this interview. I love Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith, right? And then, of course, you know, they have the, Jada has the Red Table Talk. And it was some interview. I can't remember exactly why the question was asked, but I remember Will saying that Jada, he said that as a husband or whatever, he couldn't make Jada happy. Jada had to take responsibility for her own happiness. It wasn't his job to do that, right? And so that is our power. The power to live a life that you love is within your grasp. You own that power. You possess that, right? You control your happiness. And some people might say, well, my circumstances won't allow me to do that, right? You can change your circumstances. And sometimes that is not good. Well, no time ever is it ever going to happen overnight. That is a work in progress, right? But sometimes it could be something as simple as your mindset, right? Changing the way that you look at things. Because when you look at things a little bit more positively, then the day is not so bad, right? Or you can endure it just a little bit longer, right? So that might be a way. Set your goals and things of that sort, so that way you can have a plan of how you want to attack your process to get to develop that life that you really want, right? Because it's here for us at our picking. We just have to set our plan in motion. We have to be intentional about that, and we can have that abundant life, right? So I want you to ask yourself, what is it that truly makes you happy? What is it that truly makes you happy? And then if you have that, then put that inside the chat. Hi, Asia. Hi, Najla. Thank y'all for coming tonight. So tell me, what is it that really makes you happy? Okay. Then once you can, now that might take some time. You may not just get that right away, right? So let's go back to the next step that I want you to do. Once you figure out on your time later what it is that makes you happy, think about your core values. Remember, last week you identified 5 core values. Think about the impact that you want to make, or the legacy that you want to leave. And a lot of times when we think about legacy, we think about our family or children, right? But it's a little bit more than that too, though. You know, it's what do you want to be remembered for? Okay, that's what legacy means. What is it that you want to be remembered for? Then think about, how will you make that happen? And why does all this matter so much to you, right? Once you identify those things, guess what, friend? You done wrote that out into a little sentence. You done made yourself a personal mission statement. Yeah, it was that simple, right? A personal mission statement. Now, I do have a template for this inside the course. So if you haven't already, you want to register. Okay, you want to get on this, because I think I'm going to be pricing this. This is right now, I'm offering it free. So jump on the bandwagon, get all this good stuff, right? So write your personal mission statement, and then ask yourself, look at those values, and then think about the things that you're doing. If those things that you're doing do not align with your values, if it does not align with your personal mission statement, get rid of it. Don't do it no more. Because you know why? That means you're living a lie. That means you are not living the life that you want for yourself. It is not a life that you love, right? Because if it was, it would be aligned with all the things that make you happy. Okay? So really give this exercise some thought. This is, if you don't do anything, well, actually everything ties in, because we've been taking baby steps the whole time. But this is key. So your goals are going to be aligned with this. That is your business goals, your academic goals, your life goals, whatever it is. All your goals are going to be guided by this personal mission statement, right? These goals will be aligned. They have to be in relation with your core values. Okay. So by doing those things, then you are truly living life intentionally, which means you are living life on purpose. Okay. And then you will be able to find that happiness that you're looking for because you're doing the things that bring you joy, right? So, this week, I want you to work on that. And that will kind of bring this whole week to a close, or this whole journey to a close. Can you believe it's already been 4 weeks? It will kind of bring this to a close, and next week will be our wrap up. And what I would like for you to do, I want you to think about all the things that we've been through this week. Think about your 3 key takeaways. You know I love the number 3, right? Your 3 key takeaways. And those are the 3 things that really stand out to you that you can apply to your life, or 3 things that you learned about yourself that you didn't know before, or something like that. But those are your key takeaways, right? And I want to share that next week. So if you want to join me next week, we're going to same time, same place, right here. And I want to try something a little different next week. So bear with me, and we're going to see how this moves and grooves. Okay. And hopefully I'll have something that you'll really like and you can relate to. So if you haven't already done so, I want you to register. Even though it's week 4, you can still get in, because this is the course is going to be available for another 30 days. Okay. So register at my website, SPARKNUniversity, and don't worry about it. There's a link to it down in the description box. Okay. And then go through the steps of walking through this, which, with a friend or by yourself, whomever. But the key thing to this is also reflection. You have to be honest with yourself in order for you to truly know who you are and where it is that you want to go. And then, and only then, will you be able to live a life that you truly love. Okay. So, if you have any questions for me, then go ahead and put them in the chat, or any last minute thoughts or anything like that. And next week, bring a friend. Okay. And then also, let me know if you like this format. Normally, I record my videos and I post them weekly and everything. I'm still going to be doing those because I love Google. I like tutorials. I like all that type of stuff. But this is like an extension of that fireside chat. And the purpose of the fireside chat was just for us just to chat, really. Talk about things that are important to us, right? That really matter to us. And it was designed to be once a quarter. However, some people ask me, like, why are you only doing it once a quarter? Don't you want to do it more frequently? So if that's something that you like and you want to see more of, then let me know. Okay. Great. I'm glad that you like this, Asia. Good. I like to touch on things that enlighten and brighten other people. So, honestly, though, this has been a journey for myself too. Like I'm doing it for other people, but I've been going through the exercises myself, and yeah, there's some things I need to work on. So I created my self-care plan. Haven't actually done it just yet, but I will. At least I created the plan. So now I need to sit down and think about how I want to incorporate some. Well, actually, I'll take that back. I think I'm doing some of that stuff now. So making myself a priority, and that's not something that I normally used to do in the past, right? So let me know if you want to see more of this, if you like this format. Then and how often do you want to do it? Do you want to keep the weekly Mondays, or is once a month good enough? Just let me know what your thoughts are, okay? And I want to thank you for joining me tonight, because there's so much you could have been doing tonight, but you decided to share your evening with me, and I just want to say thank you. And I want you to choose today to start living your life boldly, passionately, and purposefully. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye, everyone. Bye.